So I'm finishing up the rice harvest for the year. This is my last variety called Pirog. And it's, if I remember right, this is one that was developed down in Louisiana for sake production. I had to look and make sure. I can't remember for sure if it was Pirog or Lafitte that was the sake type. Pretty sure it was this one. Anyway, so these are the straw bundles that I've threshed out so far. This is what's left to do. And then here, you can see I laid the tarp down so I don't lose so much on the ground. And there's a fair bit in there. It did better than I thought, actually. Looking at it earlier in the year, I wasn't having high hopes for this one. And yeah, it did, like I said, a lot better than I was expecting watching it through the season. I'll plant this one again. I probably won't plant more. I'll probably stick to the 150, 200 plants on this one. A lot of the varieties this year are going to get plantings in that range next year. Like Del Monte, I'll probably do a 400 or so plant batch of that and see what that looks like on a larger planting. And build it up a little bit, not go too overboard. I wasn't super impressed with the yield on that, but the quality is quite good. So I'm going to try it in a different spot and plant more. Most of these other varieties that I put in this year, I'll do larger batches next year. Kurumi Wase, I'll do a larger batch of that. Java long grain, I'll do a large area of that. Those will both get full-size plantings, which are basically, it's an 8-foot wide strip that goes as far as it goes across the paddy, depending on which paddy it's in. So what I'll do with those is I'll settle on where they're going to go this fall, measure out their spacing, and figure out how many seeds to plant in the trays for transplants next spring. The Choseon Zo-sang, that one is also going to get a full-size planting. Mizuku Chine, which this is one that I just left to see, basically to see how it did as far as just holding grain, if I just left it standing. And I'm going to harvest this one and take the seed off it, because it held this whole time. So I'm going to see how that does for seed next year. This one has been here the full season. Most of it I harvested weeks ago. But that'll go. The Mizuku Chine I'll put in that paddy over there where I had some of the Choseon and the Pirog was planted over there. That area there is the rest of the Pirog that I haven't harvested yet. It's kind of interesting to see some areas of the same patch were mature a lot faster, and then you can see here at the edge there's sections where there's a lot of missing plant and all the grain's gone. That would be because my goats got out a week, 2 weeks ago, and ate everything they could reach without getting their feet wet, which is a little frustrating, but whatever, it's fine. At least they're not wiping out my food supply for the year, in which case I'd be considerably more upset. But yeah, so next year, similar size planting of the Pirog, which is a couple hundred plants basically. And I'll increase those other ones I mentioned. I'll probably increase the, what was it, Seogata. It's a red brand mochi type, which I'm interested in seeing how it does in a larger planting, where it's a block planted, without having varieties of different heights around it, so I can support it a little better. And so it's all everything around it, it's all harvested at once instead of having empty space sitting next to it for a couple weeks while it matures. You get a lot more lodging that way because it doesn't have anything next to it to hold it up. It just falls over. Same thing for the Java Longrain. It needs to be in a block planting like that, so there's nothing of different heights around it, and it doesn't have empty space sitting there for it to lean into. Let's see, what else did I take out this year? The early Sutosar. I mean, I'll plant it again, but it'll probably just be another block in this test area. This patty here is the test patty, and it just gets replanted, and whatever varieties I'm still testing go in here, and they just get a row of however many transplants I've got. I try and start 100 or so seeds, 125 to 200, depending on how interested I am in the variety. And then I just plant out however many transplants I get out of that, see how they do. And yeah, there's a variety over here that I got nothing on this year, but I don't think it was a problem with the variety. It's Aomari. I think it was just, it kind of got lost in the shuffle. There were only a couple of transplants that survived of it to make it into the ground at all, because I had some trouble with my transplant trays and some crazy weather early in the year, and that was one of the ones that got hit bad. So that one will get another planting. Most things I try and give them 3 seasons before I decide whether I should just stop growing them. If they do really well on their first season, then it's okay, great. That's when I want to do more of. But if they do badly their first season, as long as I get, well, like, yeah, like I said, with the early Sutosar, I didn't find it very impressive, but I'm going to try it in some other areas, and I'll do, another planting next season and just test plantings on that. It'll get 2 more tries and we'll see. I may skip it next year and put it off and make its 2 seasons be the year after next, and on down the road maybe skip a season on that and come back to it. But anyway, that's my thoughts at the moment here, doing my last little bit of threshing. We're expecting a frost tonight, so I'm trying to get ready for that too. So I'm going to leave that patch and I'm just going to let it get frosted. It'll be fine. A little bit of frost isn't a big deal. A hard freeze would maybe be a problem, but like I said, a little bit of frost, no big deal. It's fine. And then I'll just come in and harvest out whatever is mature of it after that. That'll be the end of the rice for the year. So that's what I'm up to today. If I have time, I'm going to be doing some work on my greenhouse, and I'll do a little bit of an upload on that. Later.